Hello, it's Rachel Palmieri back again for card number 7, and this is officially the last of the series of tutorials for World Card Making Day, 3rd of October 2020. We've used Forever Fern all the way through, and if you have that stamp set, you'll be probably quite amazed by the difference a change of colours can make. We're doing a watercolour card for the last one. Now, if you think that you'll be overwhelmed by this, you can easily miss out this part of it, but probably after you've seen me demonstrate it, you'll realise that you too could quite easily do this. I've used a sentiment from the Prize Peony set, just because I liked it and I wanted a bit of a change in sentiments on the cards. So for this card you need a tent shaped card is what I've used. It doesn't matter, you can use a side folding one if that's your preference. A piece of contrasting card that measures 10 centimetres by 14 centimetres, and a piece of thick whisper white. Now it could be watercolour, it could be shimmery white, but I found that the thick whisper white is fine, and it measures 9.5 by 13.5 centimetres. Now I probably need to start with the watercolouring first because it takes a little longer. You might be wondering about these other bits on my desk, but you will find out eventually. So I need to find some paper to do this messy part on. Well, it might be messy. We'll just have to see, won't we? Now, there's a couple of ways that you can obtain the ink that you need for this watercolouring. I've just realised I haven't put any lights on. I wonder if that'll help. So you can put one of your acrylic blocks in and load that up with ink. That's one technique. And another is to use the re-inker and put a couple of drops. 1, 2. Hopefully that's enough. Doesn't matter, I'll get some more if I need to. We have new water painter brushes, and it includes one with a much thicker, a wider brush on it. And I need to get a fair bit of water happening here too. And we do this pretty roughly. That's why I think you can probably manage it. Because it's sort of basically being covered over. It's just a bit of background colour. Now I've actually loaded on more colour than I did on my first sample. That's why each one turns out differently. I'll just put those off to the side so that I don't end up getting messy. Now this is the splatter stamp that comes with Forever Fern stamp set, and I've done the usual thing, 3 and 2. I can see on my sample card that the leaves sort of covered them over mainly. Now I'm going to leave this to dry, and I'll move on to working on the leaves. Now I have made a template. This is one of my favourite ways of doing die cutting and stamping. I forgot one important step, and the important step is to actually set up the stamps first. So I found that I don't always manage to match them up perfectly. Most of the time I do, but sometimes it's a bit off. And so this is a technique, I didn't develop it, someone else did, and you place your stamp face down into the die cuts, and you now can place blanks in there. So that means that you can die cut madly out of a piece of white card, and you know, you don't have to worry about leaving gaps and that between them so much. You just, and you know, if you were making a whole heap of leaves, you could load up the full plate with all of them and stamp all blue ones and then all green ones and all mauve ones, and so it goes on. Alright, so now I have to find this one and pop it in. I could have popped it in at the same time, but I would have got blue ink on it for sure. And hopefully that's pretty right. So this one was Seaside Spray, which I've been using all along because it is the colour that coordinates with the woven threads paper that I chose to use. This is Highland Heather, and really it's Purple Posy that goes with the woven threads, but Stampin' Up had issues with the ink. And I have one, but not many people do. And so I thought it would be unfair to use it. And Highland Heather is in the same range, it's just a more intense colour, which doesn't really hurt. So there's my full strength one, and now I will do the second one without re-inking. Okay, so I have that done. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find my sentiment from the peony because I did a clean up. Let me see. I have found it. I've just got to clean it off because it's got black on it. Okay. These circle framelits I've used all the way through in different sizes. I think they're an essential one to have. And they fit so many of the sentiments onto them. So this is the second size. You've also seen me use the very largest as a background. I can't keep that one shut just at the moment, but that's okay. Now, we have, don't worry about the piece that's cut out of it, we have, that one's 5.5, this should be 5, and they are actually going to be layered. I might actually do it around the leaf there so it doesn't end up everywhere. Oh. It's not going to work if you don't do the rest of it. So basically 5 centimetre strip of the pattern paper, 5.5 of the plain, and you place them flush, because what's going to happen, I'm going to bring this one back in, and I can just do it by cutting without measuring. Now that's a bit tricky because of that leaf, but we're going to work with it. And that's where we'll pop it down. But I do need to add this piece, which came from, I forgot the name of the dyes. They go with the poppies. And I used the fancy label from it in the last video. Anyway, so this is just a little bit of extra so that it, and you know what, I'm sure you have a border punch if you don't have this die set, and you could make a small piece of border punch or a full piece of border punch and take it across the card, the bottom, just to fancy it up a bit. Add a little bit of lace and lusciousness. This is still slightly damp, so I don't know how we're going to go with adhesion. I should have had my heat tool set up maybe for a little bit of drying. But there we go. And we now pop it back into the trimmer and cut it off flush. Beautiful. This is the ribbon that I used, and it is Seaside Spray metallic ribbon. It's a beautiful day in Melbourne today. I hope to get out and enjoy some sunshine. Maybe in a park somewhere. It's still very much locked down. Getting harder and harder to put up with, although one of my sons thinks that I should be quite happy being a retired person and able to craft all the time. I suppose that's all right, but I wouldn't mind seeing people. Wouldn't mind seeing him and his kids occasionally. I think everyone feels much the same. Now, it doesn't much matter the way I arrange these. It doesn't much matter the way you arrange them either. You do them how you feel you'd like them. You can use different leaves too, of course. If you're using a different stamp set altogether, you'll be totally improvising. I'd love to see what you make. Alright, now I'll grab some dimensionals to pop that label up. And you can see I'm just about done. I haven't quite mastered taking these off with the take your pick. I can use it for just about everything else, but there we are. And we need to pop it onto that level, that layer. So do you think that you can manage this one? I hope so. Because a lot of you are probably more experienced than I am even. But I do know that there's a lot of people out there who'd love to be doing this and think that it looks a bit scary. So hopefully this is helpful. Now I actually just glued that other one flat, so I will, but there's no reason why you couldn't pop it up on dimensionals if you're not worried about the thickness. It's not going to be particularly thick anyway with these layers, but oh, it doesn't matter about that spot, does it? Because it's going undercover. Here we go. And with a white inside, you really don't need to be putting any decoration. But you know, you could, and I'll do it later, pop a leaf or something like that. Just to finish. Decoration. Now, see how low I'm getting on these. Three's the secret number, the magic number, and yeah, still in shades of Purple Posy and Seaside Spray. This paper's so gorgeous. It would be nice if they brought it back, but it sold out very, very quickly when they put it on special. Anyway, that's my two cards for number 7, identical, and I hope that you've had a wonderful day card making. Bye for now.